Westside Connection was one of those groups that felt bigger than just three rappers making records together. Ice Cube, Mack 10, and WC had different backgrounds, different personalities, but when they came together, that chemistry was serious.
Hey, I seen my nigga Dub C up here a couple of weeks ago. And that nigga said some positive shit, you know what I'm saying, about the group situation, you know. But I got love for Dub C too, though. You feel me? Hey, and to keep it all the way real, I got love for Ice Cube too. Because I'm one of them niggas that's too blessed to be mad at any motherfucking body. You feel me? Hey, fuck being mad about some 25-year-old shit. Hey, check this out. Look. One more? Hey, if I do one more some Westside Connection, y'all gotta do it with me like my niggas is up here with me.
Bow Down became an anthem. The group represented the West Coast heavy, and for a minute, it looked like that movement could keep going for years. Then everything stopped. No big farewell tour. No final album explaining what happened. Ice Cube and Mack 10 simply went separate ways. WC stayed somewhere in the middle, and Westside Connection basically disappeared. For years, fans kept hearing pieces of the story, but the situation always came back to one ugly confrontation involving Mack 10 and Ice Cube's brother-in-law.
Everybody's not gonna like you, but everybody got something to say. You know, that's part of it. You shouldn't change your mind because a few people don't like your decision. I think that's the problem with the world today. Everybody's second guessing themselves, unsure, not going with their guts and their instincts, trying to fit into, society's norms. And most people that's doing that, I don't think they're happy.
That's why Mack 10's latest comments caught people off guard. After all these years, he got on stage, mentioned WC showing love toward the group, then took it even further. Mack said, "I got love for Dub C too," before adding, "I got love for Ice Cube too." And then came the line that really changed the temperature. Forget being mad about some 25-year-old stuff. That right there sounded different because Mack wasn't throwing shots, blaming Cube, or reopening old wounds. He sounded like somebody who might finally be ready to leave the past where it belongs. But once you know what allegedly happened behind the scenes, you understand why one public shout out probably isn't enough to put Westside Connection back together.
It was just, it was just an unfortunate situation, as far as, what came out of all that, you know what I'm saying? But the stories you heard most of them probably was, what did you hear? What else did you hear? Did you hear that before all this happened, that it ain't like that just happened? Conflict, yeah, but I went to Cube about 4 or 5 times before the conflict jumped off and told him to correct the situation. So that's the part that everybody leave out, I think.
Right.
Nobody didn't intend on start nothing or nothing even like escalating to that level. You know what I'm saying? Because if you go to somebody 5 times before it escalates, then you was trying to be diplomatic about the situation.
Because according to Mack 10, that confrontation didn't just come out of nowhere. He says there was already tension building behind the scenes, and before things ever got physical, he actually went to Ice Cube more than once trying to get the situation handled. Mack explained that he went to Cube 4 or 5 times before everything finally blew up. His point was simple. From his side, he wasn't looking for drama. He felt like he gave Cube chances to step in and straighten things out before it reached another level. That detail changes the way the whole breakup looks. For years, the story got boiled down to Mack 10 having an altercation with Cube's brother-in-law, Cube choosing family, and Westside Connection being finished. But Mack is basically saying there was a whole chapter before that moment that people rarely talk about, and that's where it gets messy. Because Cube wasn't just Mack's group member. Westside Connection was business too. Albums, shows, touring, branding, all of that money was tied together. So when personal problems started bleeding into the business, somebody was eventually going to have to pick a side. Cube apparently made his choice, and once that happened, the group never really recovered. But Mack still doesn't sound like somebody who believes he was completely wrong for how everything played out. And this is where WC's position makes the whole story even more interesting. Because while Cube and Mack 10 stopped dealing with each other, WC never completely picked a side. He continued working with both of them separately, which tells you the problem wasn't really about the group as a whole. It was personal between two men who once had serious business together.
Oh, you've been in tons of movies, I know that, Mac. What's this new one, man? What you got cracking for us? Scratch.
Be on the lookout for it.
Man, there he is. Now, of course, Cube talked about possibly reuniting with you, man. What you got to say to that?
I don't know about none of that, man. They're shooting Scratch right now.
Okay, it's all about Scratch. That's what I'm talking about.
I wanted to ask you, Westside Connection's
Gotta hurry up. Camera ready.
Westside Connection's completely shut down. Can I just ask though? But some fans think the legacy doesn't mean anything anymore.
So,
what do you say to fans that feel like
once you get to the squad, baby, that's it. How they feel about it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
A lot of people feel like the legacy, the music for Westside Connection doesn't mean as much because you guys aren't together anymore, because it's all about camaraderie and like riding with your friends together.
I mean, every time we do a Westside Connection show, whenever I'm performing or Q performing or we're together, the crowd go crazy. I don't see how they can't think that.
But you guys aren't doing it anymore.
What do you mean?
It shut down.
Mack 10 does Westside Connection records on the solo show. I do Westside Connection records on my solo. Ice Cube do them on the solo or when we're together. Now there's always going to be a Westside Connection. Are we performing together as a group? No, not at all. Not right now.
Yeah. Do you think you'll ever come back?
What you say?
Do you think you'll ever come back together as a?
Could be.
Yeah.
Could be. Yeah. Things worked out between Cube and Mack. It's called real life though.
Yeah.
Real life behind the music.
Yeah.
Music is one thing, but real life behind the music is another. If there's no gelling, then there's no music.
Yeah.
But I mean, Westside Connection will always be an all-time favorite collective group package that the fans out there love, and I love it. And unfortunately, everybody done moved on doing what they're doing right now. In the beginning, before the Westside Connection, Dub-C was on stage. I'm gonna continue to be on stage with you.
Yeah.
So a lot of people might say, well, damn, where's Mack 10? Because we used to see all three of them on stage together. That don't mean there's any love lost. Not on my end.
Not on your end.
There's not no love lost. And then Cube was not mentioned in the Westside Connection. Ain't nothing but love on my end.
Would you ever sort of mediate between Mack 10 and Ice Cube?
No, because I can't make anybody do anything they don't want to do.
Yeah.
You're not saying you personally, but you're asking me to do something that I can't do.
Yeah.
If I ask somebody several times, let's put this together, let's do X, Y, Z, and they say no, what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to say, well, I'm not going to deal with you no more.
Yeah.
I'm not your friend no more. I'm not going to perform with you no more on stage. I'm not going to do that because you don't want to do that. I got other things that I can do. I was a solo artist before the Westside Connection.
Yeah.
I can continue to go out there and do other things outside of music. And to the fans out there, I love the Westside Connection. I mean, I wish that we could have kept going on and doing what we're doing. But at the end of the day, you don't want to do it, you don't want to do it.
WC has basically kept the Westside Connection name alive without pretending everything is good behind the scenes. He's performed with Mack, worked with Cube, and still represents what that group meant to the West Coast. But even he has admitted that a full reunion looks difficult as long as Cube and Mack still have unresolved issues. And think about how crazy that is. These three helped create one of the hardest West Coast groups of that era, but one confrontation was enough to freeze everything for more than 2 decades. No reunion album, no real comeback tour, not even that one major moment fans keep asking for. So, Mack showing Cube love publicly matters, but the bigger question is whether Cube even sees that as a real peace offering, or if that door has already been closed for too long.
That second album came out on Who Bangin' Records.
Yeah.
So you had your own record label.
Yeah.
And they put out that album through you.
Yeah.
Which is dope.
Yeah, sound about right.
Okay.
That's what happened.
Well, then at one point, a rift started with Westside Connection.
Yeah.
You and Ice Cube.
Yeah.
So there's a bunch of hazy stories around this, but it seems to focus around Ice Cube's brother-in-law. Can you talk about that?
I mean, what you want to know?
Well, what happened?
It was just, I mean, you know, it was just an unfortunate situation, you know, as far as, you know, what came out of all that, you know what I'm saying? But the stories you heard, probably, most of them probably was, what did you hear?
The story I heard was that Ice Cube's brother-in-law got beat up.
What else did you hear? Did you hear that that before all this happened, that like it ain't like that just happened?
Well, never just happened.
Yeah.
But there was friction.
It was conflict, yeah, you know. But I went to Cube about 4 or 5 times before the conflict jumped off.
Okay.
And told him to correct the situation. So that's the part that everybody leave out, I think.
Right.
I didn't. Nobody didn't intend on starting nothing or nothing even like escalating to that level. You know what I'm saying? Because if you go to somebody 5 times before it escalate, then you was trying to be diplomatic about the situation.
Right. I mean, the problem is that you're talking about Ice Cube's wife's brother.
I understand.
So now Ice Cube gets put in a weird situation where...
Well, it depends on how weird you want to be. Because if it was my wife's brother, I would have told him he can't fuck my money up.
Right.
And he can't be out of line with nobody I'm getting down with. And if you got that big of a problem with him, stay at home. You know what I'm saying? So it depends on how you handle it.
Yeah.
My wife brother wouldn't have stopped shit for me.
Right.
With them. But so it just depends on how you handle things. And so I personally never, me and Cube didn't have no fight or no nothing like that. We had an argument, but okay. I thought that was it.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
How was Dub C during this whole situation?
He wasn't in it.
He wasn't involved at all?
No,
Okay.
He wasn't involved.
So he wasn't trying to broker, you know, this thing from escalating anymore, or considering how close he was to both of you?
I think it came to so much of a head that, you know, at one time that, you know, it was, you know, I mean, I don't know, you know, what was said when I wasn't around or whatever, you know what I'm saying? But as far as I knew, Dub he didn't have nothing to do with none of that, you know what I'm saying? This was all me and Cube's misunderstanding.
Cube's side has always been way more guarded, and that's what makes his comments hit differently. He rarely sits down and breaks the whole Mac 10 situation apart piece by piece. Instead, Cube tends to speak in broader terms about loyalty, decisions, and standing on what you believe. In one interview, Cube said, "Everybody's not gonna like you," and added that people shouldn't change their mind just because others disagree with their decisions. Now, Cube never directly said Mac 10's name in that moment, so it would be a stretch to claim he was definitely talking about him. But considering the history, fans immediately connected those words to the Westside Connection fallout. And if that really reflects Cube's mindset, then this might be bigger than one old fight. Cube seems like the type who makes a decision, lives with it, and keeps moving. Mac, on the other hand, is now publicly saying he's too blessed to still be angry over something from 25 years ago. That creates a strange situation. One man sounds ready to let the past go, while the other has never publicly shown the same urgency to revisit it. So even if Mac is extending an olive branch, the real reunion question might come down to whether Cube believes there's anything left to fix at all. And there's another angle here that people don't talk about enough: the timing. Westside Connection doesn't need to become a full-time group again for this to matter. At this stage, one reunion performance could be bigger than trying to force a whole new album.
Is there ever a chance we could get a Westside Connection reunion with you, Dub, and Mac 10?
Probably not.
Damn.
Probably not. I don't want to do another Westside Connection.
Yeah.
I fuck with who fuck with me, Kev. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? And I ain't seen him or talked to him in damn near 20 years, so there it is.
When you get
He
him
tells
on,
his side, but
of course he do. Of course he do.
It ain't never been me, you know, with the hold up. It ain't never been my personality or who I am with the hold up of us doing something. It ain't never been me as the hold up. You feel me?
I don't want to talk about it, to be honest, because he know what it is. That's all that need to matter to me. He know what it is.
I totally understand.
Classics.
I totally get it. But you know, I'm just the kind of guy that, you know, I rock with who rock with me.
Look at where hip-hop is right now. Legacy acts are selling nostalgia, anniversary shows are getting packed, and fans are paying to see moments they thought they'd never get again. Cube still has his own lane, Mack still performs, and WC never stopped carrying that Westside energy. Put those three on one stage again, and the history alone would make noise. That's why Mack's comments feel bigger than just saying he's not angry anymore. He even performed Westside Connection material while talking about Cube and WC, almost like he was reminding everybody what that chemistry used to feel like. That doesn't automatically mean phone calls are happening behind the scenes, but it does show Mack isn't running away from that chapter of his career. And after 25 years, maybe that's the first real shift fans have seen. The beef might not be completely buried, but Mack clearly isn't treating the Westside Connection name like something he wants erased anymore. But here's where the business side makes this whole thing even crazier. Westside Connection didn't fall apart because the music stopped working. There wasn't some huge flop that forced everybody to move on. The group still had a name, a fan base, and a sound people recognized instantly. What broke them apart was something outside the booth. And once personal loyalty gets mixed with business, that money can disappear fast. Cube was already powerful enough to move on by himself. He had movies, solo records, production, and later built businesses outside music. Mack 10 had his own career too, and WC stayed respected on the West Coast, so none of them needed Westside Connection to survive. That might actually be part of why this lasted so long. When people need each other financially, sometimes they find a way to sit down and fix things. But when everybody can still eat separately, there's less pressure to make that uncomfortable phone call. And after enough years pass, pride can turn into distance. Distance turns into silence. Then suddenly, 20 plus years are gone.
What really happened for the breakup, they were about to go on this big Westside Connection tour, the Bad Out and all of that when it was hot. A little bit after that, they were about to go make some money. But in the meantime, Ice Cube and his wife have a great relationship. They've been together for a while. So she kind of like run and deal with a lot of stuff. But Mack 10 have a Pyru blood entourage, and they have Crip entourage, right? Not saying anybody gangbang or anything like that. And some of Mack 10 dude robs his wife's brother. Ice Cube's wife was furious, so she told Cube, "Nah, you ain't making no money, you ain't doing nothing with him." And she put the smash down. She was like, "We ain't doing it," but Dub C and Mack needed some money. They were, depending on this tour. They elected to pay Dub. That's why Dub and Cube are still cool to this day.
That's why Mack's public message stands out. He's basically saying the old situation doesn't control him anymore. But whether Cube sees it the same way is still the piece nobody really knows. And if this ever moves beyond stage shoutouts, WC could quietly be the key to the whole thing. He's the one member who still has history with both sides without carrying the same public tension, so if anybody could get Cube and Mack in the same room, it would probably start there. But a reunion would need more than fans screaming for Bow down one more time. There's a difference between saying, "I got love for Cube," in front of a crowd and actually sitting across from somebody you haven't been right with for over 20 years. Old disagreements don't magically disappear because enough time passed. Somebody may still want an explanation, somebody may want an apology, and somebody might feel like nothing needs to be said at all. That's what makes this story bigger than simple nostalgia. Mack sounds like he's reached the point where carrying old anger doesn't make sense anymore. Cube, meanwhile, has built an entire empire without ever needing to revisit that chapter. So the pressure isn't really on either man financially, it's about whether they care enough about the history to close that chapter the right way. And if that private conversation ever happens, fans might not even know about it until all three of them suddenly walk onto the same stage. At this point, the biggest question isn't even who was right back then. It's whether Westside Connection's legacy is worth one final conversation. 20 plus years is a long time to carry a situation that started over one conflict, especially when the music they made together still gets love today. Mack 10 has now made his position pretty clear. He says he still has love for WC, he still has love for Cube, and he doesn't want to stay stuck on something from decades ago. Cube hasn't matched that energy publicly, and maybe he never will, but that doesn't mean the story is completely finished, because hip-hop has seen crazier reunions happen after years of people saying there was no chance. Sometimes all it takes is one phone call, one mutual friend, or one moment where everybody realizes the history is bigger than the argument. But Dripzine wants to know what y'all think. Did Mack 10 do enough by publicly showing Cube love? Or does that old situation still need to be handled privately before anybody even talks about a reunion? And if Cube, Mack 10, and WC actually hit the stage together again, would y'all want a full tour or just one legendary Westside Connection performance? Get down in the comments and let me know how y'all see it. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to Dripzine, and turn on your bell notifications so you know when the next one drops. Salute.
How the fuck does Common and Ice Cube catch beef?
Somebody said, yo, Cube dissed you on this song. So we playing the song and I'm listening. I'm like, damn, this nigga dissing me. And KT was like, nah, he ain't dissing you. He ain't dissing you. I'm like, this nigga dissing me.
It wasn't Westside Connection though, right?
It was on the Westside Connection record. Cube was like, right. First of all, I was like, King T, how you gonna not say this is a diss? He said, all you niggas want to diss the Pacific, but you niggas never get specific. I used to love her mad cause we fucked her. Yeah. Pussy whip bitch with no common sense. That was direct. So, I mean, my first reaction was like, damn, Ice Cube know who I am.